Move myself. Hello, everyone. Let me pop myself in here real good. Hey, friends. Hey, I am here. I have made it. I hope all of y'all are here and you have made it too. This time it was not due to technical difficulties and it was not due to me. Somebody else can take the credit for this mishap. That's all I'm going to say about that. Hey, friends. Hey, welcome to the first book club of 2026, the first virtual book club of 2026. Let me, while we're chit chatting real quick, we're going to be discussing Supercommunicators by Charles Duhigg. If any of you had had the pleasure of reading this book and listening to the audio version, you'll know it actually reads the audio version, and he did a really good job too. Hold on, friends. I am trying to share out this live stream. One moment while I take care of that. Talk amongst yourselves, and then we'll jump into this book. Because as per usual, y'all know I got slides and everything that I have prepared. And I'm ready to go. Now let me just see if I can share this. Y'all, I am somebody's already shared it. Look at this. Okay. Come and chat about Supercommunicators by Charles Duhigg. Oh, they spelled it right, y'all. They just forgot to put the G. Okay, now I have shared that to everybody. Oh, hang on a second, friends. Let me get that. Let me turn that down because Lord knows what that. I don't want that broadcasting. Okay, now thank you guys so much for being super patient with me. Again, those technical difficulties were not of my own making. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And then we're going to jump right in here. I just need to do one more thing to make sure that, hold on a second, friends. You know what? We might have to skip this thing. I'm trying to, here we go. Okay. I guess I'm looking at myself now. That's what I wanted to do. I need to be able to kind of look and read all the different, accoutrements that make this show happen. Anyway, friends. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about Supercommunicators. Let me see if I can move my big head out the way. 1 second, beloveds. Let's see. Is that going to do it? This is going to have to work for now, friends. I was trying to make it real big. But there have just been a whole bunch of things going on. Speaking of being a super communicator, we're just going to leave it like this. And then that way you can look at me and Mr. Duhigg. I hope I'm saying your name right. I think so. I think that's how he pronounces it in the books or in the audio version. Anywho, welcome to the first book club meeting of Lovely's Virtual Book Club. First book club in 2026. We have been doing this since 2019. We are not new to this. We are true to this. And I'm so happy that you all are all here today to join me. Even if it is a little bit after the schedule allotted time, we are here and we are going to get down to it. So first off, let's do some announcements. So we have at the library something called the Adult Winter of Reading. We've been doing that program for a few years. It's very similar to summer reading that we have for the littles. We have this one for the not so littles. Y'all get game boards, you cross them off like in a bingo fashion. You can go diagonal, straight across, up and down. However, I guess that would be horizontal and vertical. Y'all know what I mean. And you X off those books as you are reading them. You turn in your game board to be entered into weekly drawings and a grand prize drawing. What else? Oh, and here at Lamb, we have our own type of raffle. We've been doing them so far once a month. I say so far. That was last year. Everybody knows the New Year's brings new things. We did one last month, and I think we might be doing one this month. So you can get entered into win not only the Adult Winter of Reading, but then we have an additional prize here at Lamb. You have to come here to do it. That's the catch. You have to come here to enter into that additional one. It's got a lot of penguin themed prizes in it and things to keep you warm and snug while you're reading. And so I hope you guys come on in and see me or any of the other helpful, wonderful people here at Lamb for an entry ticket. Okay, all right. Let's see. Now, let's get on to talking about Charles Duhigg. You know what, friends? Let me make this bigger on my screen so that I can see it too. Y'all know my eyes are, look at my cool glasses. Aren't they cool? Well, these eyes are going to be 52 years old next week, so I gotta baby them a little bit. So Charles Duhigg is a Pulitzer Prize winning investigative journalist and the author of Supercommunicators, The Power of Habit and Smarter, Faster, Better. He's also a graduate of the Harvard Business School and Yale University. He is a winner of the National Academies of Sciences, National Journalism, and George Polk Awards. He writes for The New Yorker and the New York Times Magazine and was the founding host of the Slate podcast, How To with Charles Duhigg. Pardon me, y'all. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this book. So, Smart Communicators is basically, it's a simple and tested method for communicating and connecting with anyone. Supercommunicators explores the psychology and neuroscience behind how we all can learn to be supercommunicators at work and in life. So that's the gist of the book. Also, that's not what I meant to do. Hold on a second, friends. So some of the themes and tropes that we will be discussing in our allotted time are the types of conversation. And really, that's what this whole book is about. Hang on, let me double check myself. I want to say it's 7 chapters, but I feel like I might be mistaken. And guess who was not mistaken? Me again. It is 7 chapters, friends. But the whole book basically talks about the 3 types of conversations. What is this really about? How are we feeling and who are we? And if you had a chance to finish this book, you will realize that is the crux of the whole thing. So one thing too, let me see before I jump ahead of myself. Okay, now we can chit chat. Okay, let me bebop and let me move this back a little bit so we can talk amongst ourselves. Hold on a second, friends. I'm gonna make it a tiny bit smaller. Boom. There, and then I can see my controls a little bit better. First of all, before I jump into this, please share this live stream with your friends. It lets the algorithm know that you like what I'm doing. And then you can be even friendlier with your friends by giving them something amazing and pleasant, like this book club to join. And it's super, super convenient for people who are busy or are not able to come to the library for a host of reasons. We just want y'all to know we're thinking about you too, and we want you to be able to participate however you see fit. So we're going to turn that off because I've told you to share. And now we're just going to, y'all, I don't even think I have my little name up here. Friends. I'm going to tell you, speaking of communicating, it has been a lot. It's been a lot. But I'm here now. Hold on. Let's do this. There. I don't even have my backdrop up, y'all. And I don't see my little name tag or anything. That's okay. Let's just talk about the book. That's what we're going to do. I think this is what I'm trying to do, friends. Yes, and then there's something here. What is this? Oh, that's what I'm looking for. There. I want to make myself a little bitty talking head right there. Okay. I'm sorry. It's been a lot. So in the interest of communication and talking about things, this is an amazing book that deserves your full attention. And to be quite honest, it has been the book. It's not the book's fault. Life has been lifing for Lovely. I'll say that much. And we missed the Hum discussion in December. That was the book we were supposed to discuss, but I had to cancel the book club because my mommy is in the hospital. And my mommy is still in the hospital. So we're going to get through as much of this as we can. But I just want y'all to know that's why I seem a lot scattered. And why it is not as normally as flowy as it usually is, because I am distracted. So that's what the first thing is. What kind of conversation are we having? We're having a frank conversation. If you read the book, like I said, he talks about the 3 different types of conversation. So we're having a frank conversation. How do I want y'all to feel? Compassionate and understanding toward me. Because like I said, life is lifing and I'm kind of going through it at the moment. That's usually what's happening when I cancel a book club, is almost always somebody is on their deathbed. I'm not even joking. That's what happened when I canceled a book club last year, is when my father passed away. And I hope we're not close with my mama going, because I just don't think that would be fair, to have both of your parents pass away less than a year of apart from one another. But also, to be quite frank and honest, that's generally the way it goes, especially if couples have been married a long time. But clearly I have digressed. So let's try to get back on track to the topic at hand, which is this book club. Okay, so let's talk about this. So basically, in the book, he talks about the 3 conversations that people are typically trying to have. So let's see. So chapter 1, basically the main ideas of that chapter are creating a meaningful relationship requires building genuine connections and understanding one another. Effective communication is enhanced when people align their conversational styles and show they want to connect. This is known as matching principle. Conversations generally fall into 3 categories. This is what we were talking about earlier, friends. Practical or decision making, emotional and social. Hang on. Oh, I didn't space that out. So the conversations fall into 3 categories: practical, decision making, emotional, and social. So miscommunication kind of occurs when there's a mismatch in what type of conversation we are having. And part of the reason why I chose this book to begin with is I really do think that there are so many of us who really want to communicate better, and we don't understand why we are not able to connect with one another. I will say this. One of the things that I liked in this book and that I learned about is that a super communicator is not necessarily somebody with the gift of gab. I happen to have the gift of gab. I'm also a super communicator, but I had to learn to be a super communicator. And the deal is this, is that yes, people who have the gift of gab like to talk, but sometimes we like to talk a little bit too much and we end up dominating conversation. That is not what a super communicator does. Also, a super communicator is not necessarily the most important. Wait, that's not it. They're not necessarily the most popular person either. You would think that that would be the way, but that is not the way. If you think about somebody who you know, who seems to be able to talk to anyone, who seems to be able to connect with people, even folks that they have never met, they are probably unconsciously employing a lot of the techniques that he discusses in this book. Now, unless they've read this book or they've studied the neuroscience of communication, then they might be doing it consciously. But for the most part, all the super communicators I've ever known had a strong desire to connect and create community. And sometimes the best way to do that is by stepping back, being quiet, and asking questions. If you ask the right questions, you can get tons of amazing answers. So anywho, that's like kind of the basis of this book. That is the basis of at least the whole shaboing boing is what type of conversation are we having? Once we match our communication styles, it's easier to communicate and to connect. Another reason that I picked this book or chose this book is Charles Duhigg has written a lot of other really interesting book about the neuroscience of communication. But also, a lot of times, if y'all have had the pleasure of interacting with me at the library or just watching me, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or blow it or nothing like that, but I am good at customer service. I'm good with creating community. That's really what I'm doing. And so in an effort to show people what I do or explain it, I had to really stop and think about it. And I realized that there were some gaps in what I know I'm doing versus how to explain it, if that makes sense. I hope that it does. Anywho, this is a phenomenal book. We also, like I keep mentioning, we have it in print copies and we also have it in audiobook, as well as I believe we have an ebook too. So the main thing is we need to match conversation, match the type of conversations that we're having. And so that's where the successful communication comes in, when we recognize what kind of conversation that we are having. So again, what is this really about? How do we feel and who are we? Or decision making, emotional and social mindset. Let's see. So let's just jump into some questions. Let's see. Ooh, okay. So in this book, a lot of times Mr. Duhigg will get his point across by sharing stories of other people that really help to illustrate it. He does very well at showing you what he means versus telling you. And I think that's really important in communication. The book that we most recently did together was To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Mona Quill Blackgoose. And she was excellent. I hope I'm remembering your pronouns, Mona Quill. I can't remember if you're she, they. I'm just going to say they because I can't remember. I apologize. Anyway, they're very excellent at showing you what they mean versus telling you. It sticks a little bit better in the brain. So let's talk about just a few discussion questions that I ran across. I got these are my notes over here off to the side. That's why I'm looking over here. So when a discussion is meaningful, it can feel wonderful, as if something important has been revealed. But meaningful conversations, when they don't go well, can feel awful. They're frustrating, disappointing, and a missed opportunity. What makes the difference? Woo! Okay, so there are missed opportunities. I'm sure that we've all had conversations where we really feel, hey, that didn't go right. That was not what I meant to say. That was not what I was trying to convey. Impact over intent, though, y'all. Always impact over intent. That's how you go learn. If you, it doesn't really matter what your intentions were. If your impact, what was, if your impact hit them in the wrong way, in a way you did not mean to. So I think that is a good thing to flesh out a little bit further. What are the best and worst conversations you've had recently? Well, since I'm already told y'all half of my business, some of the best conversations that I have had recently have been revolving around my mother's health and how we're going to proceed and what she wants to do. I am my mother's, it's called MDPOA, or medical power of attorney, which basically means if she is incapacitated for whatever reasons, I make the decisions for her medically. Now, she also has I think it's a living will, or what she wants to have done medically, like resuscitate or do not resuscitate. How far she wants care to go. Can she have blood transfusions or not? Yada, 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 all of that. So some of the more tougher conversations I've had to have are with family members and how they want me to proceed, and if they, how much they want to know, how much information they're wanting to have. Also, how do we navigate the situation together? So there have been some where I've connected and they're like, yes, I understand. Let's go. You got it. And then there are others who are like, well, I want you to be the one to do this and da, 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 da. And I have to, really try to understand that we're having two different conversations. This book has really come in handy in different ways. And I'm having to understand that they're having an emotional conversation and I'm having hey, let's make some decision conversations. And knowing that has helped me gently nudge them toward what I'm trying to accomplish. And so we end up on the same page and everyone feels heard. So I think that's super, super important as well. Let's see. What time is it? Let me check the the comment section to see if I have any comments. Hello, everyone who is currently viewing. Hello, replay viewers. I did not mean to overlook y'all. Thank everybody for giving me a little bit of your time today and coming on to this live stream, whether you're doing it live or you are doing a replay. I am happy to have you either way. Okay, I don't see any comments. Also, friends, remember to like the page. I don't see where that went either. Let me see. There it is. Please like the page. Let the algorithm know you like me, you like Lovely, you like the books. Thank you so much. So let's move on to another question. Ooh, this is good. This is good. I'm sure we all know it. Thank you, thumbs up. I appreciate you, whoever did that. You're the best. You totally rock. So can you identify someone in your life who is a super communicator? What do you notice about them? What do you notice about yourself when you are with them? What do they do that makes you feel special? Okay, so my mommy is a super communicator. She doesn't even know it, y'all. She has no idea how she's never met a stranger. The ability that I have to walk up to people, I don't just do that at work, y'all. I do it in the grocery store. If I see somebody who's in an outfit and they look like a cutie patootie, I'll tell them, hey, friend, you look like a cutie patootie. And the one thing that I noticed that my mom does, my dad did this too. He worked in hospitality and was a cab driver for a long time. You have to be able to read people in both of those situations very quickly because your safety can depend on it for sure. So that's the first thing, is my mom reads people's energy or assesses the vibe, if you will. She likes to, sometimes people don't feel like talking, or maybe they don't want to talk to you for whatever reasons, or maybe they want to have a quick, short conversation. They don't want to get in deep. You kind of have to assess the situation. So that's what I've noticed her doing, number one. Number two, she will ask a lot of questions. Because she wants to know more about the person. And I promise y'all, that's one of the best ways to connect with people. Ask them about themselves. Ask them about what they're working on. I promise you, it works every single time. Works like a charm. And also, too, if you are truly listening, they will be able to tell because you'll ask questions that navigate that conversation in a way that is very comfortable for both of y'all. And speaking of that too, if my mom feels she's made a misstep with somebody in a conversation, she stops and she's like, ooh, I didn't mean to do that. I shouldn't have said that. What's a better way to say that? Or, she'll be like, that was rude of me. I apologize. And she'll steer the conversation away from whatever that is. 9 times out of 10, because I've watched her do this, the person will be like, oh, no, Miss Terry. Everybody call my mama Miss Terry. She's 74, y'all. So you better call her Miss Terry when you meet her, too. Now, if she was watching this, she would tell me I was being mean to y'all. Anywho, she's not. So, haha. She's aware of people's boundaries and she respects them if she's aware of them. And if she's not, she apologizes for stepping over boundaries. So, if any of y'all can think of anybody like that in your life, put it down in the comment section. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, put it in the comment section. Let us know, what do they do? Because I'm sure your person or people that you're thinking of do things in a little bit different manner as well. Okay, let's move on because I want to try and get through a lot of this book. Well, as much as we can, y'all. Let me not tell a fib. I might tell a joke, but I won't tell a what? A lie. That's right. I'm horrible at it anyway, y'all. I can't do it. Not very well. Okay. So another concept that we discuss in this book is every conversation is a negotiation. And it really is a negotiation. If you think about what your purpose is in having this conversation, then you do have to negotiate with whomever you're speaking with, be it in a group, one-on-one, more than 3 people, or whatever. It is a type of negotiation. So what is conversation really about? You have to figure out what everyone wants in a conversation and then deciding the rules for discussion. Like, for instance, let's use my mom again. Okay, so again, happy birthday to me next week. I am Gen X. I will be 52. I'll be 52. I don't mind y'all knowing it all. Y'all know I'll be telling y'all my business. And one of the rules for the conversation for somebody who grew up in my generation is you do not cuss in front of the grown-ups. I don't care if I'm 52. If someone is a boomer or the silent generation, there will not be any cuss words coming out of my mouth. Absolutely not. That's the height of rudeness in Black American culture, in Southern culture. I can't talk about nobody else's culture, but you just don't do that. No, no, no. Now, with some of my Gen Z colleagues, we don't be cussing at work, y'all. We don't do that. But when we are out and about or on the town, trust and believe the words just come out however they come out. And if there's a few little profanities, you know, but that's because we have decided the rules of conversation. Now, this is the funny thing is I am the same age as their parents. And all my friends are sweet and kind and good people. So they don't cuss in front of their mommies and daddies, but because we have decided amongst ourselves, we're friends. So I'm treated like their peer, even though I got 20 years on most of these folks. It's very, very interesting and neat. I'm sure there's a study. But anywho, you have to do that with everybody. I am not flippant and cavalier with my boss, who I'm older than. I don't talk to her in the same way that I do with my peers because there's a hierarchy there. And y'all know I'm neurodivergent in multiple ways. And normally I don't always pay as close attention to hierarchies as a lot of people wish I would. Ha ha. I'm not doing it on purpose. But in a work setting, again, it's the way I was socialized. There's certain ways that you talk to your boss. You don't talk to your boss the same way you talk to your peer. And sometimes that can how am I trying to say is that can create awkwardness sometimes, because sometimes a manager will notice, hey, lovely, I noticed that you talk to so-and-so this way and not me. And I've had a lot of bosses, y'all. I keep telling y'all I'm old. I've had a lot of bosses, and then I have to explain to them, well, I come from a culture, because a lot of times people forget that Black Americans have culture. Even though people be wearing it and singing it and reading it and eating it. And anyway, let me quit. But I have to explain to them, oh, well, that's because we have a different relationship. And then once they understand, and I'm like, I can't bring myself to talk to you in a way that I would my peers and jokey joke with my peers, because I'm trying to keep a professional relationship with you, not a jokey, ha ha, he type of relationship. So again, once we understand what is the conversation really about, and we've established these rules, that's how you communicate. That's how you get your point across. And believe you me, some people have a jokey joke relationship with their boss. Some people are friends with their boss and they hang out outside of work. I had a boss like that once. Hey, David. Hi, David Murray. How are you doing? I hope things are going well. In Texas, it's hot. And the Gila Monster is going to eat you up at the airport. Have y'all read that book? Gila Monsters meet you at the airport. Anywho. So I'm not saying that it can't happen or that it's necessarily a good or bad thing, but I'm just saying that sometimes you have to have those kind of discussions. When my nephew and my nieces were younger, we talk differently than we do now that they're young adults, you know. I was a good fun time auntie, but also had rules. And now that they're all older, you know, we might go to Hamburger Mary's to hang out and have a good time. And it grows. It has matured with us as our relationship has grown and changed, is what I'm trying to say. All right, let's see. Let me see what's going on. Let's see. Again, y'all. Again, share the live stream. If you like what I'm doing and you want to keep getting more and more people to come and join and have fun too, please share the live stream out. Let the algorithm know you're enjoying me and the content and the books and everything else. Let me check the comments. If you guys have any questions or comments, please drop them. Hey, Casey, I see you right there. Hey, did I start it? Let's see. Ooh, I can show it. That's Casey saying hi. Hi, Casey. Anywho, let's see. Okay, there. I don't see anything. Also, by the way, if you leave a comment on YouTube, I will see it. If you leave a comment on Facebook, I will see it. Just so you know what's going on. Okay, I don't see anything in here. Let's get back to the business of fancy dancing. There we go. All right, so every conversation is a negotiation. Let's see. Oh, that's the one where they're doing in the book. There's Charles Duhigg shows you what he's talking about by telling you stories. And so this one he's talking about the trial of somebody named Leroy Reed, who was being accused of something that he didn't mean to do. And so excuse me. So the judge in that question was asking three specific questions. Was Leroy a felon? Did he have a gun? Was he aware that he had a gun? If they answered yes to all three, then Reed should have been found guilty, the judge said. It seemed very straightforward, but the jury's job was more complicated. They needed to figure out how to discuss the case together. Figuring out the rules of conversation like this is negotiation. So they did. They had to negotiate it. Let's see. Excuse me. 1 second, y'all. Pardon me. Excuse me, friends. So the research that Charles Duhigg had done from Harvard suggests that humans are not particularly good at recognizing when people would like to change the subject or to move on in conversation. Chad, that is me. Sometimes speaking to Casey, hey, Casey be saving me, y'all, and be like, hey, lovely, they changing the subject. Because sometimes I'm not paying attention. And that can make me miss clues that people are putting down. I promise y'all just need to be straightforward and direct with me. But I understand that that's not everybody's forte, or maybe you think you're being straightforward and direct and I'm not picking up what you're putting down. Not only am I neurodiverse, but I come from a culture, Black American culture, where direct communication is valued. Also, communal communication is valued. Like, you can talk when other people are talking. You don't even have to take turns. Woo-wee, y'all. That was one thing I had to learn about communicating with non-Black people or people who do not come from a communal conversation culture. Jewish people come from a communal conversation culture. A lot of Latino people do as well. Samoans, Polynesians, people like that tend to come from that type of community. Not so much Japanese people. For those of y'all who've been here a long time, y'all know I grew up in an international Buddhist community. That's why I'm reaching out, because I'm thinking about all these different communities that I had access to, and how the communication style was completely different. Like with Japanese culture, there's a lot of saving face, and there are all these honorifics. So if somebody's older than you, you would you put san on the last name, on their first or last name. First of all, you probably call them by their last name with san. If someone's younger than you, then they're chan, and you put that on their first name usually. Like one of my friends, Chio, she's younger than me, so sometimes I would call her Chio-chan or just Chio. But anywho, that's just an example of different cultures and how they've established rules and honorifics, and again, what kind of conversation are we having? So let's see. What were we talking about? Oh, learning conversation. Okay. So let me just read this again, because I done lost my train of thought. I got sidetracked. Duhigg outlines research from Harvard suggesting that humans, there we go, are not particularly good at recognizing when people would like to change the subject or move on in conversation. Learning how to notice these cues is important and helps us understand the second rule of learning conversation, which is share your goals and ask what others are seeking. So you can do this in a few different ways. One of the first ways is prepare for a conversation. You need to maybe jot down what you're going to say if it's at work, or think about it. If it's between family and friends, sometimes even if it's like maybe at a religious institution, y'all heard me mention my Buddhism, you do need to jot down things so that you are succinct in what you're saying and there is less room for error. The other way that you can share your goals is by asking questions, y'all. Ask questions, ask. I'm repeating that because that's something that I need to work on. Asking open-ended questions is one of the best ways to invite someone to express what they want to talk about. Open-ended questions allow people to share their beliefs, values, and experiences. So not a lot of yes and no questions, but questions that do require them to expand or expound upon what they're trying to express to you. It's super important. It shows you're paying attention. It shows you're interested in what they have to say and you value their opinion. I promise you, y'all, half of what I do here as far as conversation and communicating with patrons is just mutual respect. I respect their time. I respect what they want me to go get, whether I want to read the book or not, whether I want to use that service or not. That doesn't matter. I am here to help them, and they appreciate that. Some people do want to chat with me. Some people just want me to point them in the direction of what they're looking for. Other people want me to get up and walk with them. And whatever they want me to do, I figure it out fairly quickly. I'd say maybe in 10 seconds, I can figure out if a person wants me to walk with them or just point in the direction or come and help them. And y'all, I'll help people I'll make copies all day. I don't care how many times I have to get up. I'll get up and make the copies and sit back down and get up and help them fax and sit back down. That does not bother me at all. And the patrons appreciate it. They sincerely appreciate it. And honestly, I appreciate them too. I learn so much when they come in and share what they read and why they liked it, or what they're going to be doing this weekend. And again, that curiosity about what other people's goals are and their agendas, I promise you that's one of the keys to building community. And that's how I do my customer service. That's all I've ever done is I sit in one place for a long period of time. If I sit in one place, I mean, I've been working here for 11 years. So I'm in one place. They know where I'm coming. They know where I'm going to be. As a matter of fact, they look for my bike. And if they don't see my bike, they'll be, where were you, lovely? What's going on? Or they know it's snowing. I always get a ride if it's snowing. Anywho, I sit in one place. I do my best with whatever I have for as long as I can. That's it. Now that seems simple, but it's not. It's not at all. Also, sometimes I think knowing when to bow out, knowing when you are not the right person for that conversation, or when somebody's trying to have a conversation with you and you are definitely not the one they need to be talking to. Knowing that and knowing how to disengage politely, sometimes not so politely, depending on what's going on or who you're talking to and where you're at. It's super, super important. That too can help you to become a super communicator. Let's see what else. Here we go. We're talking about that. Preparing for a conversation, asking questions, by noticing clues during conversations. Let's see. So conversations are filled with nonverbal and verbal signals that indicate whether someone is interested in the current topic or ready to move on. Some key clues include positive signals, like when someone leans in, makes eye contact, or smiles. Also pay attention to negative signals. If someone doesn't contribute to the conversation or seems distracted, they may not be engaged. Sometimes I do not pick up on the clues. I'm getting better at it. Let me not berate myself. I'm getting better at it. But sometimes, again, depending on your neurotype, your culture, all kind of different things, different clues might mean different things. Again, like in Black American culture, if I'm interrupting you, like with a verbal confirmation, or be like, ooh, yes, or something like that. Pardon me, y'all. That's acceptable. In Black American culture, not so much in white American culture. Y'all like to take turns. And I'm like, woo, good luck getting the word in my culture, taking turns. And it doesn't mean that we're talking over one another. We might join in. If you've ever been to a Black church, you will hear the congregation doing this because they'll be like, preach, preacher, or amen, or whatever. They're encouraging him, saying, I agree. I agree. They're just not saying it in that way. Anywho, oh, you know what else? Another person that I grew up watching and learning how to talk is my grandmother. Y'all know I'm gonna bring up my grandmothers by hook or by crook. I'm finna work them ladies into this conversation, y'all. I had 9 grandparents. That's something worth talking about. And my grandmother, Bertha, had the gift of gab as well. She is what we would call hyperverbal. She loved people. She loved connecting. She loved her community. So I had the opportunity to watch her and my great grandmother, Rosetta, connect with people. My great grandmother, Rosetta, and my grandmother, lived in the 5 Points neighborhood in Denver back in the day. And so there were a lot of things that they would do. They were on boards to help people raise money for children's schooling or daycare, or, people who maybe didn't have as much as they did. So they would, help people with money, food. One day, y'all, I'll tell you the story of how my great grandmother Rosetta passed as white so that she could help some Jewish folk who was running from Hitler. That's a long story, but that was a super communicator, y'all. She was a super communicator. She's a bit stern, at least I thought so. But when it counted, honey, Rosetta Kellum was finna tell you a thing or three. You hear me? A thing or three. So I'm a combination of all of my grandparents, and then watching my parents as well. It's a very interesting place. And also, too, I'm a combination of that international community that I grew up in. I realized that sometimes people were funnier in their native tongue because they couldn't find the words in English. I have attempted to be a polyglot. I don't speak more than one language. I speak a dialect. I do speak African American vernacular. I can definitely I speak Gullah Geechee as well. I don't speak it to people who don't understand it though, because it's too much to try to explain to everybody. But anywho, let's see. Let's get one more question in because I need to end the discussion. Let's see. Let me see. Let's talk about negotiation. That's what we can end the questions on. Let's see. What's an example of quiet negotiation that has happened in your own life? Reflect on the unspoken rules or subtext of conversations with a friend, partner, or parent. Okay, so I don't know if this is such quiet negotiation or not, but my brain does not process subtext. And so I've had to tell people this quite a bit, that you cannot respond to what I did not say. People will answer questions I know I did not ask. So I could ask someone, let's say we're going to an event, and I can ask them, what time do we need to leave to get there on time? And they'll answer, oh, it's not that far away. And I'm like, what time do we need to leave so that we can get there on time? Oh, if you don't worry, they don't mind if we're going to be late. They're not answering the question that I clearly asked. What time do we need to get there on time? And, instead of saying 7, so we can get there by 7:20, they'll answer everything but that. So, the unspoken rule with me, well, I guess it's spoken too, is please answer the question that I actually asked you. There is no subtext in whatever I am asking or saying. My word is my word. That's it. I do realize for other people there is subtext. So I have to tell people, if I am not understanding what you're asking me and I'm answering a different question, you're going to have to be more direct or rephrase it or something, because I'm not getting the subtext. I'm answering exactly what you asked me, and I'm not trying to be an obtuse rubber goose. Sometimes, I'm sorry, now I'm singing Odd Parents in my head. I'm not trying to be obtuse. That's just how my brain processes things. And I think that as we expand and understand different neural types, you will start to see that there are a lot of people who don't process subtext, and they're not being facetious about it. They are not being willfully ignorant. They're actually being quite vulnerable, letting you know, hey, the way my neurotype is set up, you're going to have to be more direct, or we're going to miscommunicate. And anywho, I think that's where we'll end the note, or end on in the discussion on. Now, I do believe that in the back, let's go back here a little bit, because I want to tell y'all something. There we go. So let me put it up here really big so you can see it. So this is our good friend, Charles Duhigg. If you go to charlesduhigg.com right there, you will see that he has all types of guides to he's written 3 books. And for this super communicator book alone, there's about 7 or 8 different guides on there. You'll find the book club discussion. That's what I'm reading. The guide for the book clubs and questions and things that you can answer. It has a breakdown of all of the chapters and whatnot. Also on his website, you'll find a guide to using these ideas. He really wants you to go out and implement these ideas. Thank God for Charles Duhigg, because he's written, I think, Smart Brevity. No, that's a different person. But anywho, there's about 6 or 7 guides. If you go onto his website, you can download them and look at them. I highly recommend that if you have not had a chance to read this book, these books are gone. They checked out and they are gone. I hope everybody who has had a chance to read this book is enjoying it or have enjoyed it. If you haven't had a chance to read the book, please come by the library and check it out. There's one on display right now. And speaking of which, let's scooch on over. Let me make it big here real quick. Wait, do I have? No, it's not the next one. Anywho, if you like this book and you want to read more books about the topic or the subject of communication, please come to Lamb Library. I have a whole display. It's called Communication Through Connection, and it's all about talking and how we can connect with one another through dialogue. I really hope that you guys get a chance to do that. I would love to see you in the library, especially at Lamb Library, because that's where I'm going to be. Speaking of which, our next book club, let me put it up here really quickly. Boom. Our next meeting for our book club is going to be February 19th at 4 p.m. And we are going to be reading this book right here. It's called Black and Blues, How a Color Tells the Story of My People. It's by Imani Perry. Can y'all see that? It's a wonderful, wonderful book. I am about halfway through it. It talks about so many wonderful, interesting things. Come by and get a flyer, and you can tell your friends too to stop by. Let's talk about it really briefly. I'm going to read a brief synopsis, and then I'm going to let y'all go, okay? Throughout history, Black life has been remarkably intertwined with another color, blue. In daily life, it is evoked in countless ways, from the hopefulness of a blue sky to the deep melancholy of Louis Armstrong's question, what did I do to be so black and blue? In this book, celebrated author Imani Perry uses the world's favorite color as a springboard for riveting emotional, cultural, and spiritual journey, an examination of race and blackness that transcends politics or ideology. Let me just keep going. Perry traces both blue and blackness from their earliest roots to their many embodiments of contemporary culture, drawing deeply from her own life as well as from art and history. The dyed indigo cloth of West Africa that were traded for human life in the 16th century, the fundamentally American art form of the blues music, sitting at the crossroads of pain and pleasure, the blue flowers Perry paints to honor a loved one gone too soon. Poignant, spellbinding, and utterly original, Black and Blues is the brilliant work that could only have come from the mind of one of our greatest writers. Also, too, if y'all have been following the book club for a little while, get that out of there. Sorry, y'all. blue is very spiritually connected to Black Americans who practice hoodoo as well. If y'all remember that book that we did, it was called Ophi's Ghost by Justina Ireland, and how they had painted their porch paint blue to keep the ghost away. That also comes from West Africa. A lot of times in the South, you'll see bottle trees, and it's literally trees that have blue bottles on them. Again, that's to keep evilness and negativity away. A lot of times you'll see people honoring our culture by dyeing the tips of their fingers blue or having blue design. It's like henna, but it is blue. Sometimes people are using indigo or they're using jaguar gel. Anyway, y'all didn't ask me all that. But anywho, that's what we're reading next month. I cannot wait for us to jump into this. Also, please just have a good, wonderful day. I hope you guys enjoyed the book club as much as I did. I will see y'all next month. Remember to sign up for the newsletter. Let me see. Let me put that up here because I forgot to do that. Y'all. Sign up for the newsletter so you can get the discussion questions ahead of time. And if you want to, usually in the newsletter, I put a little invite for you to pop up on the screen in case you want to join in the actual discussion as well. I appreciate all y'all for giving me so much of your attention for such a long time. I will see you next month. Bye.